Hello everyone, this is L5 and welcome to Global Manufacturer Toy Review. And today I'll be looking at the 2006 release by ToyBiz of the Marvel Legends Build Your Own Figure, the Sentinel Series action figure review. And today's action figure review looking at Omega Red that comes along with the lower torso of Sentinel. Now I got this straight from a friend of mine who actually kept this since 2006, and I managed to get it off from him for 29 ringgit and 90 cents. That's the retail pricing that he sold to me, and I'm pretty glad and really appreciative of his gesture for selling me this at retail pricing, because in eBay right now for a mint card Omega Red is being sold for $30. That's not counting shipping yet, so yes, it's a little bit more pricey if you get it from eBay right now. So I'm pretty glad that I got this for, well, 30 ringgit there. Now let's take a look at the front portion of the packaging. Now the bottom section of the packaging itself, you get to see an image of a size comparison between the Omega Red and the Sentinel, and you can see that the lower torso there has been highlighted, and this is what is being packaged inside the packaging. Here we got the lower torso of the Sentinel figure itself. Next to it is the figure for Omega Red, and behind them is a 32-page comic book of a X-Men issue number 7 comic book. Very nice. Now at the back portion of the packaging itself, sorry for the glare, top section there, highlighting Omega Red's, well, power grid: intelligence 2, strength 4, speed 2, durability 4, energy projection 3, fighting skills 4. And his height is 6 foot 11 inches, weight 425 pounds, eyes red, hair blonde. Now there's a small write-up for Omega Red stating the Russian mutant Arkady Rosovich was transformed into a super soldier with a coat by the KGB, but he could not control his abilities and he was placed into suspended animation. Recovered by agents of the ninja clan known as the Hand, Omega Red soon clashed with the X-Men, particularly Wolverine. Omega Red secretes an airborne toxin from his body that kills those in his immediate vicinity. Also, his arms are long claws made of carbonadium, an alloy similar to adamantium. Here is the rest of the lineup. You get to see an entire, well, fully constructed Sentinel figure there. Now for the rest of the lineup, we have Cyclops, also a different variant figure in a different costume, Spider-Man, Angel with another variant of a different costume, Mystique, Omega Red, Black Panther, and Mr. Sinister. Very nice. Once you collect the whole set, and each of the figures itself do come with the part of Sentinel to build your own large Sentinel figure. So without further ado, let's open up this packaging so we can molest the figure. Be right back. And we're back after removing the figure and the rest of the stuff out from packaging. Now inside the packaging, the card itself actually shows a smaller instruction manual on how to assemble the Sentinel figure. Now as mentioned before, it comes with an X-Men comic issue number 7 with the front cover of half the face of Wolverine, the other half of the face of Omega Red. Bottom section there's a small little font there that reads "Not for resale." Back portion of the comic itself showcases the entire wave for the Sentinel series. Very nice. Now let's take a look at what's being packaged inside the packaging. We have a flight stand which is made of a clear translucent plastic, which you have to assemble yourself because it comes with 2 pieces. All you have to do is just plug in this peg onto this hole here. It's quite easy to assemble with no problems. And the flight stand actually comes with 2 joints that pivots backwards and forward. Same goes this as well. And they're supported by the screws. So when you play around with the joints itself, it tends to loosen up, but you can easily tighten up the joints by, well, tightening up the screws itself. Here you got a peg here to plug it at the back portion, the lower back of Omega Red. There's a hole there. Very nice. We'll move that one side. Let's take a look at the lower torso of Sentinel. Now let's take a look at the paint job first. The entire lower torso is made of a black plastic material color, but you can see the entire thing is painted except for the joints itself. The ball joint is painted, but not the joint itself here. Now the armor has been painted with a little bit mixture of purple and blue. As you can see there, it looks very metallic painted. Very nice, very glossy. Plus the fact that at the back portion of the butt, or at the back portion of the lower torso here, you can see there's a lot of metallic scrapes going on there. They actually dry brush the back portion of the butt and the back portion of the body itself with a little bit of silver paint job and a little bit of rusted paint as well to make it look like it's been scraped all over. Very nice. Even all the mechanical parts here are all painted in rusted metal. Very nice. And the details of the mold is absolutely gorgeous. As you can see, there's a lot of wirings, tubings all over the torso itself. The pipes there, the joints, very nicely done. I really love the amount of details they put onto the lower torso here. Very nicely done. It actually has a few articulation. The upper torso joint here can actually pivot back and front a little bit. The waist joint here can turn 360 degrees. And you got the hip joints here, can go forward, sides. But the problem is the hip joints are so tight that I don't dare to mess around with them. They are so tight. I can't even go, twist the joints side to side because I simply can't. It's just way too tight. So I don't dare to use a lot of force to move them. Otherwise, I'll end up breaking the joints. So I'll do that in the future. It's absolutely gorgeous with this entire lower torso here. I can see why a lot of people go crazy getting the ToyBiz version of the Sentinel figure because it looks very detailed. And this is just a lower torso part. Anyways, this is just a lower torso. There's nothing much to talk about. Put that one side. Let's take a look at Omega Red. Now the Omega Red figure here is made mostly of red plastic material color with some parts of white plastic material color, silver plastic material color on some parts, and we have silver more towards to a darker or light gray plastic material color, and also light brown plastic material color for the hairs itself. There is no accessories for the figure if you don't count the shoulder pads and the belt, because this is not part of the figure's mold. And if you could, you can actually remove this entire shoulder pads, but I wouldn't recommend it. Without the shoulder pads and everything, Omega Red looks kind of silly without anything on, as you can see there. Plus the fact that you cannot really remove the belt because there's no buttons to remove it. You can try to slowly pull it down, but you end up stretching the belt too much. It will tend to damage the belt. So I don't actually recommend doing something like that. Now for the paint job wise, the torso, the waist, the hips, the thighs, the arms are not painted. They are pure plastic material color. Of course, they did paint it with a little bit of shading, as you can see there. A little bit of shadow paint job towards the torso, side of the arms there, the upper bicep. Let's not forget the thighs, even at the back portion of the body, the butt. Very nicely done. The lower legs there is mostly not painted because it's made of a silver plastic material color pair of legs, but it's actually painted with red metallic paint job on the shin here. The kneecaps paint job is a bit faded off because this is ToyBiz, so sloppy paint job or paint job that actually, well, chipped off is quite common for ToyBiz figures, because when the figure is placed inside the packaging for too long, and when they paint the figure and it's not fully dried, they tend to package the figure immediately. So when they are posed in a certain way, let's say for Omega Red here, it's posed in this certain way, and when you try to free the joints because you don't want the joints to get frozen up thanks to the paint job, this is what you're gonna get. Some of the paint managed to, well, stick onto the other parts itself. So it's quite common for a ToyBiz figure to be like this. Even the lower chin here has the same problem. But it's not such a huge deal. It's because it doesn't have a lot of sloppy paint or paint chips. The kneecap there is not really well done, because I can see some of the paint job chipped off, some of the paint is not really well painted, some of the paint is way too much, it's like he's bleeding or something, and some portion of the paint job is not a lot. This one is way too faded off. This one is right amount of color, but it's way too faded off. Even the boots itself, the silver part of the boots are a little bit of, well, it's been mixed around with the metallic red paint job. There are nice red metallic paint jobs on some portion of the boots, but it's mixed around with the silver, making it look like he's wearing pink boots. As you can see there. Back portion of the heels there, this is a bit more faded off, this is a bit more darker in color. So yes, the paint job is rather inconsistent, because as you can see, it's a bit more faded off. The wrist guards here, as you can see, is painted with metallic paint job, but the gloves are not painted in metallic paint job. It's just made of a red plastic material color. However, the forehand here is painted in silver with a nice little logo there. The tendrils, the coils, are actually shaded, because the entire thing is made of a gray plastic material color. So they actually shaded it to make it look, well, a bit metallic, a little bit metallic for the effect itself. As I mentioned before, the torso and the thighs and the arms has a little bit of shading. For the head, the face there is made of a white plastic material color, but the paint job is absolutely nice. Well, there's a bit of smudge here and there, but it's still all very, very nice. As you can see, he actually has a lot of wrinkles on the face there, and they actually painted that. Eyebrows is orange, eyes is red, very glossy red, very nice, and each of the individual tooth is painted. The inside of the mouth is also painted, very nicely done, the details, as you can see there. Side of the mouth then is also painted with silver. Very nice. I really like the amount of detail paint job for the row of teeth there. It looks very nice. Got the headband there, but there's a bit of a paint smudge here. It's not really well done. The hair is also quite nicely done with the paint job. There's a lot of nice details there. There's also a ponytail on the top there, which is painted in red. Very nice. Shoulder pads are made of a silver plastic material color. So each side of the shoulder pads are painted in metallic red. But you can see the red is so faded off. It's like not really nice looking if you look at it. The belt is also painted a little bit with a shading color, with black paint job as well, all over. Also quite dirty looking. ToyBiz always tend to have this problem with sloppy paint jobs. Quite dirty looking. Now, let's take a look at the figure's mold. The figure's mold here is absolutely nice. There are some parts that are reused, like the thighs, the upper bicep, but everything else is unique towards, well, Omega Red here, especially on the head sculpt, the lower parts of the arms itself, even the hands, and the lower parts of the legs. The torso, waist, thighs, upper bicep, shoulders are all, well, reused parts there. What I really love is the head sculpt. The head sculpt is absolutely detailed. Very nicely done with the details there. I really love the mouth and the facial expression that he's shown. This angry face with a lot of wrinkles on the forehead and the face there and the cheeks. Very nice. Now, what's interesting to note is that the hair is made of a softer plastic material. As you can see, you can actually bend it all over, but not by much, of course. So it's very nice. The ponytail here is a solid piece, of course. Very nicely done with the details. The armor parts for the forearm guard here. Very nice. The hand. The lower section of the legs is also quite nicely done. Very nice. Among all the parts, it's the head sculpt that impresses me the most. I really love the head sculpt. Head sculpt looks very awesome indeed. And what's interesting to note is that the pair of tendrils that he has, the claws itself, is also quite unique. That's part of his gimmick itself. We have here a pair of claws that is made of a bendy plastic. Basically, they have this wire placed inside, because if you look closer on some point, you can see there's a bit of hole there. Inside the hole itself, it shows the wire. Not too sure if you can see it. So basically, you can bend the two tendrils to whichever pose that you want to. So it is very nice. And the tendrils are quite long, as you can see here. Very long. Very nice. But I do not suggest on playing with the tendrils way too much, because if you play way too much, you stress the wire and eventually it will break, and then you have a very loose tendril that you can't pose around with. So that's the drawback on having the wire for the bendy plastic here. It tends to break in the future. Now let's take a look at the figure's articulation. The neck joint is on a hinge ball joint, so you can actually pivot the head up this high, down, all the way down this low. Very nice. You can turn the head left and right, but you cannot turn 360 degrees because it's being hindered by the back portion of the hair. You can, but you have to adjust around because, as I mentioned, it's being hindered by the back portion of the hair and the shoulder pads. The ponytail is also articulated. It can swivel 360 degrees. Shoulder joints here, without moving the actual shoulder joint, the inside of the shoulders itself can actually pivot upwards. Shoulders can also turn 360 degrees and lift all the way up this high. Upper bicep can turn 360 degrees. Double jointed elbow joint that can bend this far. Very nice. I'm disappointed on the wrist joint because it doesn't have a swivel wrist joint, but it can pivot inwards and straight. Fingers there, the pair of the 4 fingers there is also one set of a joint itself, so you can actually close this much. And I don't need to talk about the tendrils itself. The tendrils is actually articulated, but also what's connected to the lower arms there, you can actually swivel 360 degrees like so. Torso joint here can also move forward this far or all the way to the back. Waist joint can turn 360 degrees. Hip joints, the pegs are aligned straight, so you can move the legs forward. I really like this. Back to the sides. Swivel thigh that turns 360 degrees. Double jointed knee that bends this far. Very nice. The lower calf here can swivel 360 degrees. Ankle joint here can pivot all the way down this far, up, and go side to side. Well, I am disappointed that it doesn't have a toe articulation, but still, the figure looks really nice. Overall, I really like Omega Red. The Omega Red figure is rather posable, plus the fact that you have the tendrils to play around with. Very nicely done. I love the head sculpt. The head sculpt is amazing. Though the paint job is not that great because there's a lot of faded paint, there's some sloppy paint job, some of the paint managed to stick onto the other parts because thanks to the packaging back then in 2006 or 2005 when ToyBiz just packaged the figure when it's freshly painted and it's not fully dried yet. That causes a lot of problem. But the paint job alone is very minor thing. The articulation works very well. There is no frozen joints because all these parts there, as you can see there, the only problem with the frozen joint that you may encounter is the calf joints there, because due to the paint job of the red paint job, but it's not a lot, so you can unfreeze those parts quite easily. Other parts like the shoulder joints, the double jointed elbow joints, the hip joints, the knee joints works very well because they are not painted. You don't have to worry about having it froze on you. Even the torso and the neck joint as well. The fingers and the wrist joint may freeze thanks to the paint job itself, but still you can easily unfreeze them. Overall, I really like Omega Red. The figure is absolutely nice. Paint job wise is very minor, but very, very fun to play around with. So if I'm gonna give a rating on this, I'll give it a nice, well, a nice 9 out of 10. Yes, 9 out of 10 for Omega Red. And I thank you all for watching. This is Lucy05 and I'm signing off.